This will come as no surprise to those of us who live and breathe horror films, but there is absolutely such a thing as too much of a good thing. And with the premise of this movie we're about to sit down with, you feel like you may be getting a little carried away here. Just when we think we know what these little dolls, these evil little dolls, are fully capable of, they go and spit out a damn baby. That is how we land at 2004's Seed of Chucky. These credits are absolutely taking place in Chucky's little plastic piece, and I have no idea why we're coming in hot like this. We've got a whole mess of sperm swimming savagely towards something, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is. And for those of you who don't know what it is, you need to stop the video right now, go talk to your folks, and then come back and revisit with us so we can be all on the same level. A little girl opens a present, okay, once we get through the birthing experience. A little girl opens a present that arrives mysteriously, and it's a doll that she's not fond of. She doesn't say nice things about it, drops it in a toy chest, and the family goes back to their day. Now, as it happens with most dolls in this franchise, they wake up and they're not super friendly. And this guy wakes up, grabs the knife from a birthday cake on the table, and goes after the family. Now, this leads to a psycho little homage scene with the shower, and I believe this is the first time we get nudity of any kind in a Child's Play movie, and that's pretty impressive considering we're in the horror genre here. We see based on the sleeve when the doll grabs the knife that it's not Chucky and it's not Tiffany unless they're wearing different outfits. Whoever this is, the mom and dad get it brutally, and then the little girl confronts the doll, screams at it, and this doll pisses all over itself. So maybe it's one of those Betsy Wetsy dolls. Turns out though this is all a dream that this little doll is having while he's sitting there in a cage. At this point in the film, the doll doesn't have a name, and we don't really know if it's a boy or a girl, and that plays into some humor later in the movie, but we're pretty damn sure of who his parents are. His current lot in life has him working as a ventriloquist dummy for a con man in an act, and he's treated pretty poorly every moment that he's not on stage. He's treated pretty poorly on stage as well. I think this guy calls him Shitface. I think that's his name in this movie, which is funny, but I mean, come on, man. All of that changes as soon as he sees a news report that has an interview with both Chucky and Tiffany, who are now in Hollywood as stars of a series of horror movies. They've been basically controlled and they're put to sleep when they're not in use, so they're very docile. Now the doll sees a made in Japan mark on Chucky's wrist during this interview, looks to his own wrist and sees also a made in Japan mark, and he realizes he's not an orphan. He makes a daring escape to reunite with his folks, and the resourceful little bastard's even able to get all the way from the UK to Los Angeles, California. And would you believe it, we actually have Jennifer Tilly herself as Jennifer Tilly in this movie, which is marvelous to me because she's hilarious. And when she's bemoaning her Hollywood career, insinuating that Julia Roberts is sleeping around to get parts, it just makes you laugh. And above all that, she looks fantastic here. And I'm always happy to see her because I'm a Jennifer Tilly fan, even with that voice what it is. I think that actually makes her cooler in my opinion. We also get Redman, who I have mixed feelings about. I've seen him in some places and he's great, but Busta Rhymes being in my beloved Halloween franchise has really skewed me against rappers in horror movies. He plays himself and he's directing a film about the Virgin Mary, which is hilarious. Jennifer Tilly wants that role though, which is even more hilarious, and as soon as she finds out that he is leaning towards Julia Roberts, Jennifer decides to invite Redman over to her house for a little more intimate of an audition. Glen, who we come to know Chucky's offspring as, ships himself to the movie lot and finds both Chucky and Tiffany motionless amongst the rest of the props. And wouldn't you know it, Glen just so happens to have the amulet of Damballa with him, which we didn't know about until Bride of Chucky, but on the back of it is a chant that he reads and awakens his parents. Boom. Back to reality. Now he introduces himself to them as Shitface because he doesn't know of another name for himself, and it's a funny little part where Chucky laughs hysterically. Nice little family reunion here, but because Glen, the best part is because Glen believes he is Japanese, he speaks Japanese with a British accent. This is just one of the many little details that make this trip, this freaky, funky family trip, so very enjoyable. And almost immediately, though, Glen sees mom and dad cutting a guy's head off using a wire. And because of this, he pisses his pants in front of them. Now, this offends Chucky, but Tiffany's maternal instincts kick in, and this would be the struggle between the two homicidal parents for the bulk of the film. On top of that, even after inspecting his nether regions, they can't figure out if Glen is a boy or a girl, thus leading Tiffany to call her Glenda when she sees fit. The irony and humor of Tiffany being obsessed with Jennifer Tilly is brilliant and amazing, all wrapped up with a beautiful, bloody bow. Jennifer, on the other hand, is banging her limo driver, but she's also making plans to bang Redman, if it comes to that, to land the coveted role of Virgin Mary. And Tiffany approves of neither. During a family meeting, Chucky insists that he has a son named Glen, whereas Tiffany insists on a daughter named Glenda. Identity crisis aside, though, Glen makes the request that her parents stop killing. Stop cold turkey. The expression on Chucky's face here when he asks for that is completely priceless, whereas Tiffany is more apt to comply because she just wants to be a good parent, which is admirable. Chucky reluctantly complies, but he's got his fingers crossed behind his back, so we all know how that whole thing's going to play out. And now, just when you think things can't get any nuttier, all pun intended, Chucky and Tiffany plan to artificially inseminate Jennifer Tilly after they knock her out. They plan on Chucky being transferred into Redman's body. Of course, Tiffany's going to be put back in Jennifer Tilly's body, and they need Jennifer Tilly to have a baby and somewhere to put Glen or Glenda. Now, Chucky has to make love to a solo cup for this to work, and for added motivation, Tiffany flashes him, which is absolutely hilarious in every way. And then he finds a Fangoria magazine that really pushes him over the edge. This is where the paparazzi comes in, because John Waters, I believe his name is, he plays one of the paparazzi guys, and this guy hits the mother lode when he shows up at Jennifer Tilly's house. He's got pictures of Jennifer Tilly and Redman going crazy on each other on a couch, and then when he pans up to a bathroom window, he sees this very short shadow of a person just treating himself like an amusement park. I mean, he's going to work, and the paparazzi is just smiling from ear to ear. One, thinking Jennifer Tilly's a super freak, and two, knowing he's about to get paid for the photos that he has. Now, Chucky sees this guy leaving, and he wants to take Glen out to do a little bit of hunting. So they both leave. Chucky drives, working the steering wheel. Glen's working the pedals, and they go out after the paparazzi guy. Now, when they're out there and they're driving around, they get cut off by a car playing a Britney Spears song. The license plate says Britney. It looks like Britney Spears. They lead us to believe this is the pop star. Chucky ain't having it either. He gets right beside her, nudges her off a cliff, car explodes. Chucky laughs hilariously and goes, "Oops, I did it again." And God, that was so funny. I popped for that part. I just think with this movie and with Bride of Chucky, they've mixed horror and gore with humor perfectly. I thought they were very, very entertaining. And they're doing it again. They're killing this one so far. Because this is a voodoo pregnancy, as it's described to us, Jennifer Tilly wakes up with a giant belly and the surprise of 3 dolls looming over her, waiting to take over not only her body, but the body of her unexpected unborn child. That's when we get a major Chucky swerve, when our main good guy decides he doesn't want to transfer into another body. He wants to stay as a doll. Because humans suck. They get old, there's complications, it's easier to get arrested if you're a human, nobody's going to put handcuffs on a doll. And this made me laugh considering what the main plot of the last 4 movies has been. It's been him trying to find somebody to put his soul back into. Damn good monologue from him here explaining why he doesn't want to do it. And Tiffany and Glen or Glenda look at him like he's nuts. The movie doesn't end here though. And I'm a firm believer in leaving some things mysterious. And when it comes to the payoff of a feature film, I really would prefer you guys find out for yourself how it goes. But they do a great job here of making you laugh, giving some of our more evil characters sort of a redemption arc, and they just keep you just don't know what's coming around the corner with this movie. Some of this stuff is really, really crazy, including family photos Chucky takes with Glen. And what I can tell you is the shot callers responsible for this movie found a way to take the ridiculous concept of these plastic dolls possessed by deranged murderers who somehow reproduce, and they turn it into a fun and dysfunctional take on family dynamics and addictions to serial killing. I f***ing loved it. 8 out of 10. This ages gracefully. So there's a clear limit to what they can do here, because you can't really expect to take a family of dolls and navigate them through several installments of a franchise, regardless of how this movie will end up ending. But I dare you not to have fun with this film. I fully understand that there's people out there that don't like to mix their humor with their horror, and if that's the case, this is not going to be the movie for you. But I think credit has to be given, though, to the filmmakers for steering the ship the way that they did, because there's a lot of different ways you can tweak something to make a few more bucks at the box office. But what they did was they popped the hood on this thing, they souped it up, and they gave us just enough to really invest ourselves back into what's going on with Chucky, Tiffany, and now Glen. And I absolutely pop for this. If you enjoyed this movie, and if you enjoy talking about movies of the 80s, think about sticking around. Subscribe, and that's all I'm going to say about it this time. I'm not going to give you the whole subscribe, like, notifications bell. Please, 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 I'm not going to do it this time. Subscribe, hang out with us, and I appreciate it. I'll see you on the other side. This is Matthew Essex, signing out of Aging Gracefully.